Hey friends, thanks for joining me once again this Friday afternoon. This is a beautiful Friday afternoon for our next video in our Wellness Off the Mat series. So um, this is something that applies for everybody. I know maybe the guys don't appreciate the facial massages and serums, but you guys need skincare too, let's be honest. But this is definitely something this week that applies for everybody. So um, if you've been hanging out with me for a while, we've had a lot of focus on yoga and their wellness with the physical body, their physical practice. And yoga is definitely more about the spiritual side of things, connecting mind and body with that spiritual realm. And Ayurveda is yoga's sister science. So Ayurveda deals more with the physical body, with physical matter. So it looks at everything as connected, just like yoga does. So, but in Ayurveda, instead of connecting mind, body, spirit, we're connecting the microcosm that is our body to the macrocosm that is the environment around us. So we are all made up of matter, right? Everything around us is made up of matter. So Ayurveda really breaks down how our bodies are the same as everything else and how to create a symbiotic relationship between those two things so that we can achieve a balanced state of living. And when we find that balance, that is where health really lies. That's where we really remove that dis-ease from the body. So let's not call it disease. Let's break that word into two pieces and make it dis-ease. So, but like I said, by achieving that balance, we're finding that relationship within the body and the environment around us so that we can live a healthy, happy life. And we want both of those things, right? We want yoga with that more spiritual side, and we want Ayurveda with the more physical, tangible stuff. Within the actual body. So Ayurveda is a big subject. I could pick a topic and talk to you guys about Ayurveda and that topic for hours. We could do really long workshops on each little thing. So we're gonna just pick one thing today, break that down, one habit. And this is something I really love about Ayurveda's approach to health. So it's simple practices that are easy to assimilate into our everyday lives that can really make a huge difference. And I'm speaking from experience here. So earlier this year, I worked one-on-one with an Ayurvedic coach to work on changing some of my own habits. And I am also working on my Ayurvedic certification so that I can bring more great knowledge to you guys and for myself. So this is not just, something that I read in a book. These are practices that I actually incorporate into my life. So to start, our first habit that we're going to talk about, and I know you guys are really going to hate me for this, water. It's not just that we need to drink it, it's how and when we're drinking it. So Ayurveda says drink warm water. So I think maybe you can see the steam coming off of this a little bit. I cheat. I have a water machine, so I have instant hot water, so it's really easy for me. But we want to drink warm water. And this is why. So we know that cold constricts, heat expands, right? This is something we understand in the big universe. So our bodies are 98 degrees. This is also something we know. So these are, not crazy things that nobody's ever heard of before, even if you've never heard of Ayurveda before. When we put cold water into our body has to heat it up to body temperature before it can really use it. And it's also constricting everything in the body, making it harder to hydrate and flush those toxins, which are two things that we want water to do as we're taking it in. So when we drink water, even room temperature water, so let's say, you keep your house around 70 degrees, that's still almost 30 degrees cooler than your body, right? So we still need to up it that much. And you can do a little experiment if you don't believe me. Spend a day drinking all cold things, see how you feel, and see how many times you go to the bathroom. Ayurveda talks about bathrooms a lot too. And then the next day, drink all warm water. And again, see how you feel and see how many times you go to the bathroom. So when we're drinking warm water, hopefully warmer than our body temperature or body temperature, we are able to use it right away. Our body doesn't have to do anything to the water to make it fit into our system, right? It's already where we want it to be. And if it's even warmer than body temperature, it's going to help really expand all the tissues and all the vessels in the body so it can get right in there, get absorbed. So it's doing what it needs to do from a hydration perspective, and it's doing what it needs to help flush those toxins from the body and actually get them out, versus that cold water that's constricting and tightening everything, making it harder to release that and harder to get the hydration that we're getting from the water. You'll notice if you do that experiment, if you don't trust me on this, that cold water is going to make you pee more than warm water is, because you're actually absorbing and using more of the warm water rather than it just running through your system really fast. And I know that this is weird and you want to drink something cold because it's refreshing, but I can tell you that I actually, it took a little while for me to get used to it. I'm not somebody that loves cold things to begin with. That's part of Ayurveda also. That's part of my dosha. I tend to look for warm things. Even in the summer, I like warm coffee, not iced coffee. But I really noticed this summer, after switching to this habit of drinking all warm water, that if I was outside, if I went for a run or I walked the dog, or I was, really hot, worked up a sweat or something outside in the heat, coming in and taking sips of the warm water actually made me feel better quicker than chugging that cold water and getting that into my system. It might instantly be this hit of refreshing because it's cold and you're hot, but I actually felt better and felt like I was rehydrating after being in the heat and sweating with the warm water than with the cold water. So it does take a little while to get used to, but it does make a big difference if you can stick with it. And the second part of this is how we drink. So without getting too deep into stuff for you guys, if you just take one thing away from this, drink warm water instead of cold water. But if you want to take it a little bit further, we can look at how we drink our water. So if you're just chugging it down really, really fast to get one of those 8 glasses in, you might not need that much, right? So we want to think about more just like small sips throughout the day and just taking a few sips at a time. So rather than just like, oh, I didn't get my 8 glasses in, let me chug 2 bottles of water so that I can get it in. You're just going to pee it out. It's not, you're just flooding your body. So that's the first part of it. The second part of it is, think about your digestion as a fire. What happens if we pour water on a fire? We put it out, right? So it's the same thing if you're about to eat a meal. And I've heard this as like diet tricks. Drink a glass of water 20 minutes before you eat so that you don't eat as much. Well, if you do that, you're also putting out your digestive fire. You're going to make it harder to digest your food and make it harder to for your body to do that process, because you're putting out that fire. We want to have that fire roaring when we put food into our bodies. So ideally, you don't want to drink anything closer than like 30 minutes before a meal. You want to give that fire a chance to kindle and get going, so that as you're putting food in, you're gonna be ready to digest it. And if you need a little something during your meal, if you're eating something a little dry, some small sips of water are okay. Ayurveda says third of our stomach fluid, third of our stomach food, third of the stomach empty in order to digest our food. So, little sips throughout your meal are okay. Again, we don't want to chug like 6 glasses of water while we're eating, because that's also putting out that digestive fire. But I know sometimes, we need a sip of something while we're eating. And then same thing post meal. So you don't want to get done with your meal and be like, okay, I'm done eating. I didn't drink anything before, but now let me chug this glass of whatever because I'm done eating. We also want to wait half hour, ideally an hour, before we really start drinking anything after our meals. So you're looking to get your water intake in between meals. So if you eat breakfast at 8 o'clock, from like 9 to 11, that's when you want to focus on getting in a good portion of your water intake for the day. Then we're going to have lunch around, let's say, noon. So from 11 to 1, we break heavy water intake so that we have that fire roaring for our lunch. And then, 1 to 4, we're focused on another section of our water intake for the day to get maximum hydration. And then we're going to eat dinner maybe around 5. So from 4 to 6, low water intake. And then in the evening, if you need to drink a little bit more, drink a little bit more. Same thing in the morning. You should start your day with a cup of warm water. You can do just water or add a lemon or a lime if you like. There's also benefits to that. So, these are just some little tips. Like I said, I know I talked to a lot of people about this, so I know you're fighting me on it right now while you're watching this video that you don't want to drink warm water, you like cold water. But especially right now, this time of year, the season that we're in, is very cold and dry. So our body is craving warm stuff to counterbalance that cold in the air, that dry wind. It's fall time. We just want to bundle up and be warm and cozy. Internally, our body's looking for the same thing. So just try it. Try it for a week. Try it for a day. See how you feel. See if it makes a difference. Like I said, I speak from experience. I know it's an adjustment and it takes a little time to get used to. But if you are, interested in trying new things, working with your body in new ways, starting to really tap into how you feel and how you feel when you do different things. Try that experiment. Do cold for a day, do warm for a day. See what the difference is. If it doesn't work, don't do it. But, just looking at it from that baseline perspective of cold constricts, warm expands, starts to make the wheels start turning about how we're putting things in our body. And it goes for food also, but that's for another day. We'll keep it simple with the water for today. So any questions? I'm here. If you try that experiment, send me a message, give me a comment, tell me how it goes, tell me what you think. And if you're already doing this, drop a comment. Tell me how much you love it so other people don't think I'm crazy. I love to hear from you guys and chat with you all. So thanks for hanging out with me today for our Friday Wellness Off the Mat. And I look forward to seeing you guys next week for more fun. Till then, cheers.